The Queen, living life as it was always meant to be. The world is a mess. We all know it. War and violence and cruelty and poverty and struggle and starvation. Racism, classism, sexism, homophobia, child abuse, animal abuse, abuse of Mother Nature, injustice, selfishness, insecurity and fear and anxiety and worry, anger, rage and resentment. What concerns you the most about the way humans live on this planet? It has been this way for so long that most people think this is just the way humans are. But this is actually not so. We have been trained, we have been conditioned to accept life as it currently is. But there have been many societies, and there are a few still left in remote parts of the world, where peace prevails, resources are shared fairly, decisions are made for the good of all, and people are free. These are the Mosuo people, the matriarchal people of Tibet, one of the last matriarchies left on the planet. Look how joyful and colorful these people are. How would life in that society feel? Can we imagine it? How different would life feel to you if you were not afraid? If you were not afraid of losing money, losing love, losing health, losing power? How would you feel about life if your work, if everyone's work, was joyful and fulfilling? If life was not a struggle, but simply a peaceful experience of evolution and growth? If your future felt secure? If families were loving and safe and happy? If your leaders were trustworthy, sensible, and compassionate? If all your people respected Mother Earth and her creatures, and all humanity was at peace? How would that feel? If you wish, take a moment to feel that in your body now. A feeling of calm joy, a feeling of complete security. No stress, no worry about the future, just awakening to each new beautiful day with a fresh opportunity to give your gifts of love and work and presence to your family and to your community, and to be cared for by them in return. Imagine it for just a moment. Perhaps in these modern times, perhaps we cannot really fully realize how stressful, how very stressful living in a patriarchy is. Just for the average person trying to make a living. We have been living this way for so many generations that we modern humans have forgotten what it feels like to really live in a natural way. In a matriarchy, the very idea of making or earning a living is unheard of. People don't make a living, they just live. People simply contribute what they are capable of, and they are cared for in return. People feel safe, generally. What would that feel like? No fear about economic collapse or losing your job. You're all in it together. No matter what happens, the spirit of your tribe is, we shall all take care of each other. Everyone's welfare considered equally. Even the inevitable natural disasters are faced together, making terrible situations easier. This is not a pipe dream. There are cultures which live this way, cultures very different from our own. Here are some Mosuo women. As I mentioned earlier, a modern matriarchy of women and men in egalitarian partnership. We live in a patriarchy. Patriarchy means rule of the father. Patriarchy is a social system in which adult males hold most of the power in political leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control of property. Patriarchy is also called the dominator model of culture. The powerful are entitled to exploit for their gain the weaker. The powerful, wealthy few are entitled to exploit the weaker, poor masses. Males are entitled to exploit females. Adults are entitled to exploit children. All humans are entitled to exploit animals and the land. This exploitation leads to all the miseries with which humanity struggles. This is the mindset of the person and culture that does not understand that it is part of a single whole. Many people rank life's challenges into classes of importance. And they may say, well, when we have rights for people, then we can work on rights for animals. But this is a false paradigm. To rank orders of oppression is to unwittingly be part of the hierarchical nature of oppression. One form of suffering cannot be held as more important than another's. All suffering must be addressed at the same time, at its source. The source is the patriarchal or dominator mindset. All cruelty, all exploitation, all abuse starts from the same patriarchal paradigm, which includes failing to respect life as a whole, feeling separate from one another, lacking empathy for another's suffering, and feeling entitled to meet one's needs at the expense of another. The patriarchal ideas we suffer under began to arise in human culture only about 6,000 or 8,000 years ago. But before that, many human cultures were matriarchies, and there is evidence that these societies were more peaceful, more just, and more loving. Here you see on the left the great mother of the people of what is now called Turkey. Her name is Cybele, Magna Mater, Great Mother. And in the far right, these are the ruins of the ancient city of Catalhoyuk, which is thought to be a famous matriarchy. As it was unearthed, no fortifications, no defenses, no weapons could be found. These cultures honored a great mother figure, and mothers led families, and queens led communities, not above anyone else, but simply holding center. Here you see an ancient depiction of Cybele, Magna Mater, the Great Mother, on her throne, and on either side of her are her two lionesses. The queen in matriarchy leads very differently from a king in a patriarchal system. Matriarchy is not the reverse of patriarchy. Patriarchy is domination over others. In a matriarchy, women are honored as the life givers, mothers are respected as the center of the family, and women and men lead communities together with ideals of reverence for life and sharing resources fairly. Here are the two models. On the left, you see the patriarchal model. The king is at the top, and the king has its counterparts in the CEO, in the owning class. He's at the very top. He's cut off from the people. He's insulated, he's isolated. And just below him are the upper class managers with quite a bit of power, not as much power as he has, but quite a bit. Beneath them are the middle class managers with less power altogether and less resources. Below them is the lower class or the working poor. And at the very bottom are the welfare recipients, the destitute, the homeless, the slaves. The poor have no access to power. They are crushed by the weight above them. And they have no ability to speak directly to the king or even to the upper class managers. There's too many layers between them and those who rule them. Now on the right, you see a matriarchal system, and it's more like a beautiful web. People have different jobs, but everyone is equal in inherent value. People have different abilities, but everyone is respected. The queen holds the center of the web. She's not better than anyone else. She's just responsible for seeing the big picture, which she does from the center. Unlike the king, who really can't see the slaves at the very bottom, he really can't see what's happening with them because there's too many layers between him and those serfs or destitute people, or homeless people, welfare recipients. But the good queen is at the center, and she can see everything. She can see the big picture. There aren't really any layers between her and anyone else. Everyone has a degree of access to her. She's open to everyone. There's no crushing of anyone beneath her. And there's no isolation. There's a lot of free flow. These are the two models. And I think the matriarchal model works better for humanity. Let's talk about men for a moment. I believe that 10% of men, probably most of you in this room listening to this, are what I would call aware men. Strong and fair and compassionate, good men. 10% of men are awful men, criminal and cruel. You really can't do too much with them except separate them from society so they won't hurt anyone else. But 80% are average men. It is groups of average men which have led humanity for several thousand years now. Now, average males were never meant to lead alone without women. Men naturally have about 10 times the testosterone that women have. This is natural, and this is not a problem. However, when average men gather in male-only groups, the combined testosterone level spikes even higher. Testosterone is related to aggression, directly related to aggression. High testosterone males are more aggressive and likely to be more violent than those with normal levels. When normal men gather in all male groups, overall testosterone levels increase significantly, leading to more aggressive and warlike decisions and less empathy for others being felt by the males in the group. If even one female enters the all-male space, the overall testosterone level of the group begins to drop back to normal. This is the positive effect that female hormones have on the male body. Humans were never meant to be led by all-male groups. Preventing women from holding leadership roles is actually bad for everyone, including men. Living in a dominator model patriarchy, the average man is unhappy, stressed, and unfulfilled. Even if an individual man is successful in a patriarchal system, he almost always feels isolated and worried that what he has acquired can be taken from him by somebody stronger. Fear is almost always present. Humans do better in matriarchies, as I think is proved by the few matriarchies that still exist on the planet. In these cultures, women and men are respected, resources are shared, children are cared for, and animals and the land are tended. In a matriarchy, no one is afraid of life or the future. Everyone is working together in cooperation. Everyone is understanding themselves to be one tribe, dependent upon each other. Many of us who care about life on Earth are working on seemingly individual issues. Some of us work on solving the problem of human cruelty to animals. Some of us work on solving the problem of human beings warring against each other. Some of us work on solving the problem of men abusing women, or parents or priests abusing children. Some of us work on solving the problem of starvation and overpopulation. Some of us work on helping suicidal or depressed people. Some of us work on the problem of homelessness. Some of us work on solving the despoiling of Mother Nature and our environment, our air, water, our land. There are countless human problems to work on, but addressing any single issue in isolation will never solve the problem. Leonardo da Vinci said, "Learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else." All these issues seem unrelated and separate, yet they are not. They all spring from the same contaminated, ugly source, and that is the dominator mindset. In a very ancient time, women were thought of as queens, and God was thought of as female, as the great mother giving birth to all humans. Here you see an ancient coin on the left of Cybele, Magna Mater, Great Mother, thousands of years old. And you see on her head the city walls. She was also thought of as a queen, defending the city and civilization, defending culture. You see a picture in the center of an ancient statue of Cybele, also with the city walls on her head. This is at the Getty. You can go see this statue at the Getty. And then on the far right, you see the Earth Mother of Willendorf, 25,000-year-old statue of Goddess. The oldest statue made by human hands is of Goddess, is of the Great Mother. And here you see the Achulian Goddess. It's 250,000 years old, was found in the Golan Heights, I believe in the 1980s. Goddess veneration is the oldest religion on earth, and the mother and precursor of all later religions, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and all the others. Goddess spirituality, goddess worship, goddess celebration, goddess veneration was first. Here you see a cave carving, 25,000 years old, of the Earth Mother of La Salle in France. But when Goddess was thrown out of religion, the Queen was thrown out of woman. And she became a servant, a sex slave, a childbearer, and a scapegoat. An indicator of how just a society is and how long it will successfully endure is simply to look at how it treats women. Lawyers can work on suing animal abusers, and nothing will stop unless we get at the root cause of the problem. Judges can sentence abusers to jail time, and nothing will stop unless we get at the root cause. Legislators can create new laws to criminalize abuse, and nothing will stop until we get at the root. Demonstrators can, with publicity and pressure, end one area of abuse only to see others continue, unless we get at the root. Suicide prevention, domestic abuse, homeless centers can set up shelters all day long, and nothing will change unless we get at the root. People can send millions of dollars to charities to end starvation, and nothing will change unless we get at the root of the problem. Working on individual challenges without understanding how they are connected to the single root cause is very much like a doctor removing one small cancerous lesion on the body, and then another, without ever addressing or solving the root problem that is causing the cancer to appear. We must see the core issue that connects all these forms of human difficulty, and it is this: the dominator mindset, the inability to see ourselves as one on this planet. All these issues are caused by the patriarchal notion that the way to live is to dominate others. I'm getting mine, the hell with you. The word radical means to the root of. We must all become radicals. We must all together get at the root of the problem and solve it. Not fight it, solve it. No more war on drugs, no more war on cancer, no more war on terrorism. This paradigm of making war on is the very essence of the patriarchal mindset. The idea of a war on this or a fight for that it is the wrong paradigm for healing and wholeness. Look at these two ads from UC Irvine, the anti-cancer organization. Stop it, kill it, make it go away. The fight starts here. And the one on the right, if cancer picks a fight with you, it answers to us. And two boxers. This is the wrong paradigm for wholeness and health. Your body is sending you a message when it develops an illness. Fighting it, beating it down, beating it is never the answer. It will never work to solve our health problems, to fight with our bodies. In a matriarchy, there could be no 1% with 99% struggling, because a good mother would not see one of her children with most of the food and yet the rest go hungry. A good mother feeds all her children equally. Let's talk now about woman's four ancient powers: maiden, mother, queen, and wise woman. And here you see a wonderful ancient carving of Lilith, the first wife of Adam. Little spoken of, but Adam had a first wife named Lilith, according to the Hebrew texts, which would later become the Bible. And she refused to lie beneath him and submit to his will. So they had a big fight, and she left him and went to live by the river alone. And later stories demonized her and called her evil and said that she bore 100 demon babies a day and was a great evil. But she was just a woman who did not want to submit. The first power of woman, maiden. Holding Shakti, whole unto herself, wild and free, she is the energy of humanity. Mother, holding creativity, giving, loving. She is the birther and nurturer of humanity. Queen, holding vision. She's the architect of life. She holds authority and she holds boundaries. She is the leader of humanity. The wise woman, also known as the crone, the elder, holding wisdom, silence, and peace. She is the library of humanity. Women in modern society are greatly imbalanced towards too much mother, she who gives. When a woman gives endlessly, without her queen's power of boundaries, exhaustion and resentment result. Men also need the queen in woman. The average man will take the Shakti of a maiden. He will be comforted by the nurturing of a mother. But it is the queen in woman to which he will commit his life. Our human problems are solved by teaching reverence for life and the understanding that we are all children of the same source. Albert Schweitzer said of reverence for life that it afforded him his fundamental principle of morality. This is a natural form of spirituality for human beings, a form of spirituality in which there is no dogma, no written scriptures, no commandments to follow out of fear of punishment. Only the natural spiritual authority embodied in the Good Mother as the first teacher of life. Mother who teaches her young how to live life so that it works for the whole tribe, and who holds boundaries on them when necessary for their own good. She is the authority because she is the author of their lives. A good mother who teaches the four principles, which can easily be remembered by the acronym ROSE. R is for reverence for life. O is for oneness. S is for the word sacred, E for eternal, R for reverence for life. If we hold and teach the spirit of reverence for all life, it becomes difficult to harm people, animals, and Mother Earth. O for oneness. If we hold and teach the wisdom that there is only one of us, compassion and helping becomes more natural. To harm anyone would be ultimately to harm oneself. The Mayans have a term, En Lakesh, which means you are another face of me. S is for sacred. If we hold and teach the knowing that all is sacred, from the tiniest worm to the greatest galaxy, the spirit of caring for life becomes more natural. Some religions teach that some things are sacred, while others are profane or mundane, that is, not sacred. In our natural human spirituality, all is sacred. Nothing can be outside the hoop of life. E is for eternal. If we hold and teach the truth that all life is eternal, that nothing ever dies, it simply changes form, we can release the fear of death, and rather than the dominator mindset of short-term gain at others' expense, we can have a long-term perspective of living on Mother Earth. Have reverence for life, know that all is one, all is sacred, and all is eternal. We have one home, one Mother Earth, and we are one on this planet. First solution, realize that evolution starts with you. Perhaps, if you wish, notice when your ego is using force or pressure to achieve your goals rather than working with others. There is a place where everyone's reasonable needs can be met. Make it your priority to help find it. Woman or man, this is the Queen archetype working in you, the good mother leading and serving the good of all. The Queen principle is the one that serves and leads with little ego, only the good of the entire group in mind. Here we see Queen Mie Kulu. She is ruler of the Okwanyama people of Namibia's northern Ovamboland region. The second solution, have a vision for life on Earth. Perhaps see yourself no longer as an individual human being, as many of us do, running around in a separate little skin bag trying to survive, but rather see yourself as infinite consciousness with access to infinite resources, creative new ideas, and timeless wisdom, helping all life to evolve with your particular vision of peace and beauty and joy, and teach others to see themselves in this way. The third solution, use your power of choice. Vote for leaders with compassion and strength, leaders making decisions from wisdom and concern for the whole of life. Those with true power, not those simply using force. Vote for leaders who, rather than intent on building more walls, find creative ways to meet everyone's reasonable needs. Vote for more women to mix with men in egalitarian leadership, bringing testosterone down with resultant less aggression. The fourth solution, lead others like a matriarch. Whether you are male or female, lead like a good mother, wishing to feed and help all her children. Reduce the spirit of competition and increase the spirit of cooperation. Lead gently, like a midwife guiding and helping others to birth something good, not like a commander giving orders. The fifth solution, live simply so others may simply live. Pare your life down to only that which brings you joy. Most of us have far too much clutter in our lives. When we live simply, we are not denying ourselves, rather, we are freeing ourselves to experience life more fully. The sixth solution, Reduce animal products use. We are so entangled in a society that depends upon the hidden torment and killing of animals in so many industries. Without making yourself miserable, just note where and when you can make choices that do not result in others dying unnecessarily. The seventh solution: help others become more aware. Without being judgmental or punitive, share with others gently about how to live more lightly and compassionately on the earth. Lead more by example than by condemnation and judgment. The eighth solution: hold healthy boundaries. Love may be unconditional, but relationships are not. Most women give too much in relationship, ending up in the overgiving mother state. This is the imbalanced state of the mother archetype, and it leads to burnout and resentment. The mother archetype naturally gives, and it is the queen archetype that naturally receives. Self-care is primary. Most women are good at giving and terrible at receiving. Give only from a full cup. To give to others without healthy boundaries is actually to do violence to yourself. The ninth solution: be with Mother Nature. Too much Facebook breeds a reactive rather than creative mentality. It also fuels ego. Too much smartphone use takes you out of the now moment. Too much computer use drains your essential life force. Spend a large portion of the day free of technology. Be in and with Mother Nature. Allow her energy to infuse your body. Create beauty and goodness from your wisdom of reverence for life and the spirit of oneness that is your true and eternal self. Here's the good news. We humans can live differently with each other, with animals, with Mother Nature, and the planet. In fact, we must, if we are to survive. Many say we are killing the planet. This is actually absurd. Mother Nature has been volcano Earth, snowball Earth, methane Earth, and many species have come and gone long before humans arrived on the scene. When Mother Nature is through with our foolishness, she will shake us off her back like so many fleas. This is an indigenous people saying in many indigenous cultures. We'll never kill Mother Nature. We'll never kill life itself. We will only destroy our own ability to live here in the wondrous beauty that is now Earth. So let us have confidence in our ability to choose anew for ourselves, for our families, for our world. We are one consciousness, evolving in a universe of all possibilities. We have already extensively explored the possibilities for cruelty and abuse and suffering. So let us now explore the possibilities for peace and beauty and joy. You are the conscious aspect of the One. Help others become conscious. Be the power for good in the universe. Be a good queen, leading the world to goodness and helping all live life as it was always meant to be.